Wakana Gojo was an introverted boy with no friends and spends his time making Hina dolls. His life takes a turn when the hottest girl in his school asks him if he can help make her a seductive cosplay outfit, which leads to difficult situations between them in the future. A young Wakana is shown the Hina dolls made by his grandfather Kaoru and his friends, and Wakana is enchanted by them. This prompts him to make his own Hina dolls, but his friend criticizes his passion for dolls, saying it's meant for girls, and ends their friendship. In the present, Wakana is awakened by the sound of his phone alarm. As he goes downstairs, Wakana wishes good morning to his grandfather and offers a prayer at the altar dedicated to his parents and grandmother. While breakfast is being prepared, Wakana discusses with his grandfather about how he burdens himself with work late at night, a comment that Wakana brushes aside. It's mentioned that while Wakana lacks skills in creating doll faces, his costumes are remarkable. The discussion then shifts to whether Wakana has any friends, and he quickly states that he does. They are just all occupied with their own activities. Later, Wakana goes to school and privately admits to himself that even in high school, he doesn't have any friends. The primary reason for this is his fixation on Hina dolls, which isn't a shared interest among his classmates. While Wakana reflects on his inadequacies, Marin unexpectedly falls backward onto his desk, hitting her head against it. After apologizing for the mishap, Marin notices some black ink on his left arm, assuming it might be a cut. Slightly flustered, Wakana replies that it's fine, even though it isn't, but Marin comprehends and departs. Wakana then thinks about the ink on his arm and realizes his envy of Marin, noticing that there are many personality traits she possesses that he does not. At the front of the classroom, Noah recounts a story involving herself and Marin. It turns out that they had their hair styled the day prior, and when a guy attempted to flirt with Marin, he insulted her looks and called them lame, to which Marin fired back that he was lame and left the salon, leaving him disheartened. In her defense, Marin argues that the guy misunderstood her and shouldn't judge her based on her interests. Wakana, who hears their conversation, is struck by the realization that despite living in different worlds, he shares a connection with her. After school, Wakana remains behind to place the chairs on their desks and is shortly accompanied by Marin, who assists him since she has cleaning duty that week. Curious about his presence, Marin inquires if someone pressured Wakana to do that work, and he admits it reluctantly. He expresses that he was told he is so dependable that he feels obliged to agree to it. Marin contends that they don't view him as reliable. Instead, they believe it's easy for them to take advantage of him for menial tasks. She continues to say that he should assert himself more and resumes her work. Later that night at home, Wakana cuts his hand, and while his grandfather fetches a band-aid for him, he reflects on what Marin mentioned to him earlier that day. He then realizes that the sewing machine he had been using was not functioning properly. Wakana informs his grandfather, who returns with a band-aid, about this issue. And his grandfather mentions that they will need to purchase a new one. Feeling disappointed about not having a sewing machine to work with, Wakana suddenly thinks of using the one at his school. The next day, he operates the sewing machine in the sewing practice room and is impressed by how user-friendly it is. While he is captivated by his doll's head, Marin suddenly walks into the room, creating an awkward silence between them. During this moment, Wakana almost drops his doll's head and talks to it, only to realize that Marin saw and heard him, which makes her glare at him. Believing that his situation is hopeless, he is surprised to find that Marin actually appreciates his ability to use a sewing machine. Moreover, Marin praises the Hina doll head that Wakana carries, which brings him joy internally. When Marin asks if he made it, Wakana replies that his grandfather created it and that he only excels with costumes. Upon hearing this, Marin begins to take off her clothes to show him the black outfit she has been working on. After presenting an example of what she was trying to replicate, Wakana unintentionally comments on the outfit curtly, which hurts Marin's feelings. Apologizing earnestly to Marin, she forgives him and mentions that she made her outfit as a tribute to a character named Shizuku-tan. Since she lacks a sewing machine at home and feels her sewing skills are insufficient, she pleads with Wakana to create her outfit for her. Touched not only by her earlier compliment, but also by everything she said that resonated with him, Wakana agrees to assist Marin, while admitting that he has never made clothing for a person before. This news fills Marin with joy, as she offers to help in any way she can and shares the character's backstory, which annoys Wakana. Wakana admits to Marin that he has never heard of the dating sim Slippery Girls 2, prompting Marin to provide him with a summary of the series. As Marin describes the series to Wakana, he becomes uncomfortable with the mature elements involved in the game's plot and mechanics. Internally, Wakana feels confused as he struggles to understand what Marin is trying to explain to him. Suspecting that this might just be some kind of joke, Wakana realizes that Marin is completely serious about the game's details. Returning to Marin, she proceeds to share her enthusiasm for the character she aspires to cosplay, Shizuku-tan. When Marin inquires if Wakana understands her, he internally thinks that he doesn't have any idea. However, he does come to observe that when Marin talks about something she enjoys, she seems to genuinely be having fun. After Marin finishes her explanation, Wakana poses the question of whether Slippery Girls 2 is an Arrow game. Marin confirms that it is, and Wakana then asks whether the game has age restrictions, but Marin pretends not to know. He then questions why she enjoys a game aimed at a male audience, but Marin insists that many females do, and that gender doesn't matter when you truly enjoy something. Marin's phrase triggers an unpleasant old memory for Wakana, but instead of feeling discouraged by it, he agrees with Marin. To assist Wakana with his project, Marin takes out a beginner's guide to creating cosplay outfits. They decide not to start on any tasks, like gathering necessary supplies and measurements, as it is getting late. At home, Wakana's grandfather Kaoru expresses his surprise at how early he's gone to bed and mentions that he won't be opening the shop the next day to buy a new sewing machine. Going over the book again, Wakana is startled by a particular detail he discovers in it. The next morning, Marin arrives at Wakana's house, and after bringing him a cheesecake offering, she barges in and heads directly to Wakana's room. As Marin shows interest in the brushes he uses for his dolls, Wakana experiences an anxiety attack because a girl is in his room. Regaining his composure, Marin brings him back to reality and asks if he wants to get started. Marin expresses a desire to begin with the measurements. However, Wakana prefers someone else to help her with that, since she will need to be in her underwear for it. Thinking ahead, Marin reveals that she wore a two-piece bikini for the occasion. Nevertheless, Wakana still feels uneasy about Marin's appearance and becomes annoyed when she touches him. From that point, Wakana encourages himself to take Marin's measurements, but is taken aback by her appearance. While she is facing away, Wakana inquires if she feels uneasy just wearing her swimsuit, to which she replies that she is not bothered and is focused solely on the cosplay outfit. Hitting his face hard with both hands, Wakana pushes himself to finally begin the measurements. After finishing, Marin asks about appropriate shoes, as most she tries cause her discomfort. To this, Wakana assumes that the issue lies with her foot circumference and tries to fetch a chair for foot measurements, but Marin insists on sitting on his futon instead. In spite of his objections, Wakana gives in to Marin's requests and takes her measurements from that position. The next measurement they take is Marin's bust, which creates an awkward situation for Wakana. Once that is done, Marin proposes measuring her inseam and bust point. Again, Wakana outright refuses to do it, and after another uncomfortable moment for him, Marin suggests she will measure herself. The outcomes of the measurements leave Wakana extremely shocked for reasons he describes as unclear. Writing down the final measurement, Wakana gets ready to take the last measurement, and during this, he notices Marin blushing and concludes she feels too warm, prompting him to leave to turn on the air conditioning. By the day's end, all measurements have been completed, and Wakana requests from Marin references for the character outfit she desires. In response, Marin provides Wakana with both games as references, and becomes flustered when he sees her still in her old outfit. Later that evening, Kaoru discovers Wakana engaged in one of the games and attributes it to his age, but is surprised to see that he is taking notes.
Wakana dreams of Marin wearing her completed cosplay costume. It begins innocently, but soon Marin starts to embrace the character's Arrow persona. Awakening from the dream in a cold sweat, Wakana notices something, looks at his doll head, and asks her to turn away. At school, Wakana ponders how he will face Marin again, and coincidentally, she walks down the hall with Noah while others compliment her. Trying to avoid her gaze, Wakana is still seen by Marin, who approaches him and expresses her gratitude for his help on Saturday. Inside Wakana's mind, he becomes increasingly flustered due to his dream about her and the mixed feelings contradicting his affection for the doll head. Marin then proposes that she curl her hair that day, and they are soon joined by her friends Noah, Daya, and Runa. One of the friends suspects that Marin is making Wakana uncomfortable, but Marin asserts that she is not invading his space, resulting in a small stir between them. The girls then head off to a vending machine, while Wakana thinks that Marin treats him similarly to how she does when they're alone. He overhears some girls discussing how Wakana could be her boyfriend, but that idea is swiftly rejected. Later, Marin attempts to arrange a meeting with Wakana, but he declines outright. This kicks off a pattern where Wakana steers clear of Marin all day until school ends, when Marin finally catches up to him and invites him to go shopping. Once more, Wakana rejects her, and quickly departs. Squatting by a bend near the train station to avoid Marine, she unexpectedly shows up behind him. She chastises him and demands an explanation for his strange behavior around her all day. Wakana confesses that it feels awkward being near her when they aren't friends, but Marin confidently responds that they are already friends. He mentions overhearing a few people suggesting they are in a relationship, to which Marine playfully suggests they might as well be, leaving Wakana flustered. After revealing she was joking, Marine takes hold of Wakana's arm and pulls him along to go shopping. While visiting a hobby shop called Yuzuwaya, the two linger in the cosplay section as Wakana hands Marine the notes he made regarding the character she wants to embody. He details what they need to create it and offers advice on execution. They first select the fabric based on what best represents the character's background. Although the fabric he has chosen is expensive and he currently lacks funds, Wakana is surprised to learn that Marin has money to cover the costs. Despite his initial reluctance, Wakana accepts the money to help create her outfit. They continue shopping at the location, and once they finish, they go to a store named Swallowtail that specializes in wigs. Surprised by the variety of wigs available, Wakana is amazed by the different colors and styles they offer. The two then discover the wig that Marine wants to wear, but Wakana proposes choosing purple, since Shizuku-tan's character is associated with that color. Additionally, Wakana feels that this color would enhance her appearance better, and Marine is taken aback by the depth of Wakana's analysis. Wakana suggests they select a deep violet wig with a long length that could be cut to fit Shizuku-tan's asymmetrical bob hairstyle. Consequently, Marin states that she will have her hairstylist trim it for her and mentions that she is relieved she didn't shop alone. Otherwise, she would have bought the wrong materials for the costume. As Marin goes to pay for the items they've chosen, Wakana feels thankful for being of help. After they finish their shopping at the wig store, they proceed to their last stop, the lingerie shop, to buy some garters and stockings. Compelled to assist Marin with this segment of the shopping trip as well, Wakana finds himself waiting outside the changing room. It is here that Marin playfully teases Wakana, making him feel quite uncomfortable. By the evening, the two enjoy ramen together, and as they leave, a woman observes them with envy, remarking on how young and in love they appear while she has to work. They walk past the woman and discuss Wakana's progress in Slippery Girls, which irritates both her and the others in line. As they make their way home, Wakana mentions that he will take the materials home with him and inquires if there are specific places to wear the costumes. Marin responds that there are many venues, particularly at events or in one's own home, and then provides examples. One example is Juju-san, a well-known figure who, despite never attending events, is extremely popular. Continuing her interest in cosplay, including male and female cosplayers, Marin asks if Wakana is alright since he hasn't said a word. In his defense, Wakana admits he was reflecting on his own fascination with Hina dolls and how it started. This leads Marin to remark that Wakana is such a face guy because he appreciates the faces of the Hina dolls the most. Wakana apologizes, acknowledging how challenging it is for him to articulate his thoughts regarding appearances, but Marine assures him that it's alright. They keep walking until Marine notices a food truck that sells meat-wrapped onigiri, and Marine buys one for herself. As they keep walking, Marine savors her food, and Wakana attempts to reimburse her for the food they had enjoyed previously, but Marin declines as it was her treat. She also admits how shocked she was when Wakana not only participated in the Slippery Girls game, but also made such detailed notes for the cosplay character. Marin then offers a piece of her food, but he declines, and as she begins to finish it, she inquires if he thinks she tends to overeat. Breaking into a cold sweat, Wakana refutes the idea, but Marin is aware and proceeds to rant about her size to a flustered Wakana. Near Ikeburo Station, Wakana discovers that Marin intends to go to an event 2 weeks from that day, which leaves Wakana utterly amazed. Distraught over the reality that he has 2 weeks to finish the cosplay costume of Shizuku-tan, Wakana reflects on all of this while he travels home by train. Upon arriving home, Kaoru welcomes his grandson and is happy to learn that he was shopping with a friend. However, he becomes irritated and tips over one of the bags, unveiling that it contains a pair of women's stockings, which causes him to fall back in shock. This incident leads him to visit the hospital for treatment, and while he waits in the waiting room, Wakana's cousin Miori shows up. Wakana tells her about their grandfather's situation, and he soon arrives to join them. After taking a seat, Miori suggests that Kaoru stay at her house during the 2 weeks he requires to recuperate. Wakana supports that idea, asserting it would be for the best, which leaves him responsible for overseeing the shop. Kaoru agrees to the suggestion, and when Wakana promises to bring him an extra set of clothes the next day, Kaoru also asks for his brushes. A few days later, Wakana explains to Marin that his absence from school the previous day was due to his grandfather's accident. Sorrowful about his grandfather's condition, Marin offers to assist him with cooking and other tasks. Wakana, however, turns down the offer, prompting Marin to propose that they exchange contact information to keep in touch. Silently, Wakana consents. And after they do this, they stroll down a hallway while Wakana contemplates how he hasn't started making the costume. Marin then notes that her hairstylist was able to cut the wig into the style she desired, and she'll give it to him later that day. They pause at a bulletin board that announces the upcoming midterms, complicating Wakana's plans for the next 2 weeks. Brought back to reality by Marin, the two proceed forward as Wakana acknowledges the predicament he's in. That evening at home, Wakana gets a call from a person who requests a tour for herself and a friend visiting from France. At first, Wakana declines to conduct the tour on Saturday, but since the friend can only make it that day, he succumbs to the pressure and agrees. For a while, Wakana finds himself in a difficult situation trying to meet all of the commitments he had made. At the conclusion of the exams, Wakana, looking weary, rushes out of the classroom, completely overlooking Marin. That evening, she comes to his house to present him with a beef bowl gift, but notices that all the lights are off, and concludes that he must be spending time with his grandfather. In truth, Wakana was in his room lamenting about his recent lack of sleep and how he has not been able to finish the dress. While gazing at his brushes, Wakana remembers a moment when his grandfather explained to him why he brings his brushes on his trips. Wakana also broods over his lackluster brush skills and reflects that just because you love something doesn't guarantee you will excel at it. Feeling downcast and emotional about his recent shortcomings, he recalls another memory where his grandfather imparts thoughtful advice about the importance of working hard on something you love, as it is worth it. Reminiscing about some pleasant moments with Marin, Wakana pulls himself out of his gloomy state and resumes working. And by morning, he texts Marin to inform her that he has completed the costume. Later, Marin views the finished product and is amazed by it, but she states that she hadn't planned on going to the event that day, despite Wakana's dedication to finishing it. Disheartened by this news, Marin genuinely apologized to Wakana for giving him the wrong impression and not being clear about the details. In spite of everything, Wakana actually feels relieved by this, but Marin weeps, believing he was visiting his grandfather, and again expresses regret for her errors. To lift the mood, Wakana proposes that Marin try on the finished outfit to check if any modifications are necessary. Regardless of her reluctance to do so, Wakana persuades Marin to proceed with it. The first thing Wakana does is comb and tie Marin's hair into a bun, then they shift their focus to her eyes. Extra fake eyelashes from Wakana's store are utilized, and without hesitation, Marin trims her own eyelashes to better fit the cosplay. Makeup is then applied, and Wakana steps out of his room to allow Marin to change into the costume. The final outcome is that Marin is thrilled with how amazing she looks in the outfit and that she can be Shizuku-tan. Wakana asks Marin whether it fits well, and Marin answers that it does, but that it's hard for her to raise her arms, which leads Wakana to make a mental note. The length of her skirt, which gives a fair glimpse of her garters. In a euphoric mood, Marin asks Wakana to snap some shots of her, which he does using his smartphone. Wakaba observes that her position is more like his in the first one he captures and recommends that she act like Shizuku-tan. Marin poses as Shizuku-tan, while Wakana snaps some photos of her, using her closet door as an improvised white background. The photos taken are so good that Marin decides to open an account under the name Marine in order to upload them all. Motivated to attend, Marin then suggests that they attend the event the next day. Marin is taken aback by the number of cosplayers present on the day of the event and is able to identify a few well-known cosplayers there. With all the ladies around him, Wakana appears and feels neurotic, despite Marin's excitement at being there. Additionally, he observes how they are attracting attention and attributes it to his attire, while Marin downplays it as something that comes naturally to him. She also mentions that her boob bag, which she thinks is the finest anywhere, is definitely the reason. They relocate to the higher areas of the location, where the majority of photographers are. There is where Marin meets a photographer for her first shoot. Following the photographer's work, Marin requests a selfie with him, and then another photographer asks to snap her picture. Then Wakana sees a line forming to photograph Marin and begins to observe the various costumes that people are wearing. Wakana observes Marin's joy for Wakana. But after fulfilling his commitment to Marin to make her cosplay costume for her, he soon comes to the conclusion that his days of hanging out with her are now over. Wakana reflects on his time with Marin and realizes how unreal the time he spent with her was for him. As soon as Marin is done with the group of photographers, she runs over to a confused Wakana, out of breath, and expresses her relief that Wakana did not leave her. She then bluntly declares that her clothing is on the verge of falling off. Marin claims that she reviewed the images they took of her the previous night and realized that her breasts weren't big enough, according to her explanation. She now feels as though her breasts are about to burst since she wore 2 new bras to remedy the issue. Marin comments on how hot she is in the cosplay, while a panicked Wakana observes that the outfit wasn't designed for that kind of bra. Wakana moves Marin to a different place since she realizes her heat fatigue is caused by the material he picked. In a nearby building, Marin removes all of her perspiration and applies a cold patch to her forehead. After looking for advice on how to cool down, Wakana discovers that Marin needs to remove her attire in order to do so. Marin then convinces Wakana to unzip her, even though he is reluctant and would like to do it in a changing room. After that, she makes him dry her back with a towel, and Wakana does it reluctantly. The two then head back outside after using a towel to clean beneath her skirt and making a few tweaks to strengthen her attire. Marin returns outside and offers the photographer, who had been snapping her picture, the opportunity to take more pictures in the shade. A powerful gust of wind rips up Marin's skirt during this photo session, exposing the markings on her thighs. Even though Marin is unfazed by this occurrence, she let the photographer take additional pictures in compensation. Marin and Wakana take the train back home by dusk, and Wakana expresses his gratitude to Marin for bringing him to that occasion. Marin then inquires as to what cosplay they'll do next, which shocks Wakana. Marin lists 51 of her favorite characters in her confession that she wants to cosplay as. Marin is then informed by Wakana, who notices how cheerful she appears, that he is excited about continuing to work with her and intends to purchase a dress mannequin to help him. Wakana's dedication makes Marin insist that she buy him one. Marin locates one online, observes Wakana's apparent sleepiness, and advises him to nap. Afterwards, Marin explains her experience at the event to Wakana, who praises her as stunningly gorgeous in her Shizuku-tan costume. Keep in mind that Wakana only uses the word beautiful for items that are particularly unique and related to him. Marin is taken aback by this discovery. Marin cleans her Shizuku-tan wig at the Gojo home, and Wakana recites the guidelines on how to wash it properly. Throughout it, Marin is overcome by Wakana's captivating charms. Kaoru was being driven home by Miori, who was informed of the cause of his injury, but the two were unaware of it. Kaoru is stunned upon returning home by Wakana, who is carrying the garment he created, and by Marin, who unexpectedly appears at his side. Later in the living room, Kaoru's back is treated with Ketapro tape, and the connection between Wakana and Marin is thoroughly explained. Wakaba, who was captivated by Wakana's creation of a stunning black dress, nonetheless asserts that it is still a work in progress. Marin's heart starts to pound as Wakana and Kaoru talk about the dress's faults and other things that need improvement, and she understands that she is completely in love with Wakana. Marin is confused and unsure, but she realizes she has feelings for Wakana. However, her stomach growls loudly before she makes a decision about how to handle the situation with him. Wakane and Kaoru are drawn to the loud sound, and despite being prepared to die of shame, she is invited to stay for dinner. Wakano tells Marin during their supper that he cooks because he lost his parents. It turns out that Marin also lost her mother, but her father abandoned her when he accepted a job transfer. Marin replies that she does cook for herself when asked, and she displays a photo of a dinner she once prepared for herself, much to the annoyance of the two. Marin agrees to Kaoru's proposal that she join them for dinner every night, after hearing about this and the other food she consumes, with Wakana's consent. Later, Marin shyly tells Wakana at the train station that she will see him again the next day when Wakana accompanies Marin to the station. After that, the two go their separate ways, and Marin ponders a remark that Wakana made while on the train. The Gojo house provides refuge for a young lady on a rainy day. Kaoru tells Wakana that a visitor is waiting to see him before leaving to run an errand the day Wakana gets back. She was currently taking a bath since she was completely wet, and Kaoru proposed that he offer her a beverage after she finished. Wakane is concerned that a thief or trickster was allowed into the home since his grandfather permitted and someone he doesn't know, and Marin was out at work. After that, Wakana approaches the intruder in the restroom and discovers her in the nude. The girl was on the verge of yelling at Wakana, but she instead stumbled back. In a nutshell, Wakana's grandfather taught him the method of making a Hina doll's head, which he remembers from his childhood. The girl is given some juice in the present, and Wakana discovers from her that her name is Sejuna Inui, that she attends a different school, and that she is older than him. Wakana misunderstands her interest in the dresses he creates as an interest in the Hina doll, and shows her the chamber full of them. At first, Sejuna appeared to be interested in the dolls, but then she showed him a photo of Marin wearing his Shizuku-tan cosplay outfit and told him that her real interest was in the costumes he creates. While noting her cosplay moniker as Juju, Sejuna uses emotional blackmail to convince him to create a cosplay outfit, despite his resistance. Wakana identifies the name as a character Marin adores. By following Marin throughout the day of the cosplay competition and discovering a picture of Marin online, Sejuna was able to determine Wakana's identity as the creator of the costume and her location. She also followed Wakana as he returned home. Marin is ultimately taken aback by Sejuna's presence. However, Marin confronts Sejuna right away and overwhelms her with queries and praise. Marin enters a state of pure bliss when she learns that she is there because she saw photos of her cosplay. After Marin had at last calmed down, Sejuna asks Wakana to make her a cosplay outfit of Shion Nikaido's Black Lily attire. Marin tells Wakana the narrative and a few of the plot points of the anime series Flower Princess Blaze. Even though Sejuna is able to acquire an authorized Black Lily suit, she wants one that is a perfect fit. Marin admits her cosplay interests as a result of this, and Sejuna becomes enraged at her, but she secretly acknowledges that she enjoys the kind of cosplayer that Marin is. Sejuna apologized tearfully for assuming Marin was just another superficial cosplayer. Later, Sejuna says she wants to leave and requests Wakana's contact information so she may keep in touch with him and send him the details about Black Lily. Additionally, she mentions that this is not meant to have any other purpose, but Marin and Wakana are perplexed by this, so Sejuna proceeds to inquire whether they are seeing each other. Wakana, who is taken aback by the query, responds in a protracted outburst. Stating that they are not, and overcome by emotion, he departs to get Sejuna's attire. On the other hand, Marin found it amusing that Wakana doesn't have a girlfriend, and then asks whether she may cosplay with Sejuna, but she vehemently declines. Sejuna declines Marin's proposal that they perform group cosplay together. This is overheard by Wakana, who takes note of the specifics of the term group cosplay. Sejuna primarily cosplays for herself, in her own words, and leaves behind a lot of fantastic images. She also wants to rent a studio for her Black Lily cosplay, which thrills Marin, and she asks to join, offering to cover half the rent. As studio expenses are expensive and Wakana offers to contribute, Sejuna is drawn to the offer. When questioned about his willingness to help, Wakana explains that he assists Marin with her makeup and eyelashes. Marin corroborates this, which surprises Sejuna. After carefully considering the offer, Sejuna finds herself at a loss. But Marin offers to withdraw her request and anticipates Sejuna's Black Lily photographs. Sejuna accepts Marin's offer, but only for that one occasion. Marin is overjoyed and shouts in delight, while Wakana decides to binge-watch the whole Flower Girl Blaze anime. Although Sejuna thought a photograph would be enough, Wakana thinks that watching the series would give him a clearer sense of the character and the kind of content he should employ. He goes on to say that he used the Slippery Girls 1+2 as a reference, and that Sejuna is irritated by the input because it contains too much information. Marin provides Wakana her full box set of the series, which includes 126 episodes, when he looks online for a way to see it on his phone. Following that, Wakana tells his grandfather Kaoru about his current endeavor and how he needs to go to Marin's house to pick up some heavy reference materials from there. After that, Kaoru inspects and evaluates a Hina head created by Wakana and gives it his approval. Kaoru tells Wakana that he has made significant progress in his abilities and that creating Marin's costume has helped him hone his skills. The day after that, Wakana went to Marin's house. And while Marin was more taken aback by not wearing her contact lenses, Wakana was taken aback by Marin's attire. Wakana is permitted entry after returning in a sweat jacket and handing Marin a bag of pudding. Being in Marin's house, Wakana experiences an anxiety attack since Marin is temporarily out of the picture, and she wishes to simply leave after obtaining the DVDs. But when Marin comes back, she volunteers to watch them with him, making it simpler for him to watch them rather than take the heavy load back with him. Wakana is brought reluctantly to Marin's room, which is dominated by items bearing the Shizuku Tan brand. Wakanda instantly recognizes that it is indeed Marin's bedroom. After that, while eating some of the pudding that Wakana brought, they watch a few episodes of Flower Girl Blaze. Wakana makes a mental note of what she sees about the Black Lily character and sees how she came into existence. In the midst of all of this, Marin realizes that she is on a home date with Wakana, and that, despite her discombobulated demeanor, she wishes it would never end. This lasted until her stomach rumbled, and Wakana advised her to eat something. In spite of Wakana's argument that Marin should make something, she insists, and enters the kitchen to prepare something for them. She makes some omurice and gets it ready right away. The end result is a total inability to cover the rice with the omelet. But even so, Wakana continues to love the dinner, and they keep watching the anime that brings tears to her eyes. Wakama calls Sejuna at his house around dusk to ask her for her thoughts on the reference sketch he created. Wakana declines to accept any payment because the process is still in its early stages, but she is struck by the intricacy of the details in the sketch and offers to pay for the cost of the costume. Wakana asks Sejuna how she would want her hair and makeup done, but Sejuna refuses assistance, stating that she will handle it herself. Then, Wakana states that he has seen that the spacing of her eyes varies in some of her cosplay images after looking through them all. In response to that, Sejuna shows how she uses tape to remove it and provides pointers from her video phone. Wakana is struck by this advice, but Sejuna believes Wakana is already aware of it. Wakana then surprises Sejuna by admitting that the cosplay outfit he created for Marin was his first. Sejuna lets them utilize her camera, which her sister uses to capture the images. She uses Photoshop to enhance the images by altering the lighting and eyes. After that, Sejuna consents to Wakana's request that her sister teach him how to operate a camera, but only if it's not in his home, at which point they agree to meet elsewhere. After hearing about it, Marin chooses to join them for their family dinner. They ultimately run into Sejuna's little sister Shinju, who is taller than Sejuna and has a larger breast size. Shinju shows Marin photos of Sejuna's cosplays, and Marin is mesmerized by them. Next, Sejuna discloses that her sister was the one who took her cosplay photos and made her name and profile. In addition to explaining why she started the account, she also discusses how the images she posts on the account prevent her from responding to any of the messages. This is mostly because the account was inundated with posts, which made her feel quite anxious and unsure of how to react to them. Shinju believes that Sejuna has now amassed a sizable fan base, but Sejuna claims that her primary motivation for cosplay is her own interests, not those of others. After that, Marin asks Shinju if she likes Juju-sama, and Shinju joyously replies yes, which causes her sister to blush. Then Shinju discloses that they are using their father's DSLR camera, which he uses as a hobby rather than a job. Wakana asks Sejuna about the camera's 3 different types of lenses, while she discusses its capabilities. Next, he inquires about the distinctions between smartphone cameras and conventional cameras, which Sejuna points out vary in terms of features and quality. Her enthusiasm for increasing her photography skills is evident in the several advantages she lists for using a camera. Shinju responds shyly when Marin inquires as to whether she would want to cosplay as well. Marin asks Shinju for permission to use the camera to capture some images and explains her enthusiasm for using it. Wakana searches for the cost of a DSLR camera on his phone out of curiosity, but he is shocked by how expensive it is. This excludes the lens and all additional camera gear that is associated with it. As Wakana considers the high cost of the cameras used to capture Marin's images in her attire, all of this data is overwhelming for him to process. As the group begins to exit the restaurant they are in, Sejuna invites the couple to accompany her and Shinju as they look for studios to rent for their cosplays, and they accept. Therefore, the location of the meeting will be the Shim Misato station, and Sejuna will arrange the date for the event to take place on that weekend. An old hospital that has been transformed into a photo studio will be their first stop. Marin and Shinju are excited to enter the studio, while Sejuna is visibly anxious. When Princess Daisy defeats Black Lily with a direct right, Wakana points out that the location would be ideal for photography since it would be a good backdrop. Marin and Sejuna chat about how they would deal with the area's darkness upstairs. Marin is thrilled by the lighting advice Sejuna provides and hopes to share it with Wakana. Marin hears some outside noises and predicts that it will rain soon, before discussing further camera techniques with Shinju. Wakana, who is clearly terrified by the rain outside, is checked on by a stairwell. When Wakana asks if she would want to wait outside, Sejuna declines, stating that she would like to check the area to see whether it would be suitable. Wakana wonders why she's pushing herself so hard and asks what her motivation is. Shinju gently inquires as to whether Wakana has any goals, to which Wakana replies that he hopes to become a Kashirashi of the Hina doll, which Shinju calls a noble aspiration. Only after beginning elementary school did she realize that what she saw about magical girls on TV was bogus. She then revealed her ambition to become one. Until she was in middle school and could buy magical girl outfits, her aspirations seemed hopeless. Because the size didn't fit her, her wig wasn't adjusted, and she wasn't wearing any makeup. The first one she purchased wasn't ideal, but all that mattered was that she was content. Although her dream is a fallacy, she wishes that it might somehow come true. Since there are many other more skilled tailors, Wakana then questions Sejuna as to why she would want him to make her cosplay costume. She says in her answer that she was envious when she saw Marin's photographs of her cosplay. As a result, she developed a desire for her designer to design a cosplay costume for her. It was love at first sight if she described her wish for him to create a costume for her. Because of this, Wakana remembers a moment he shared with his grandpa and bursts into tears. In disbelief at this reaction, Sejuna loses it when Wakana grabs her hand and expresses gratitude for helping him understand something about how content his grandfather was in the past. But because Sejuna has never been held by a man, this makes her pass out. The day after the school test, Marin asks Wakana to accompany her to the beach. Wakana was curious about discovering interesting places, so she questioned Marin about whether they were there to capture photos. However, this was not the case since Marine only wanted to visit the beach because it was the middle of summer in July and they had just completed their last exams. Wakana, aware of Marine's proactive nature, is requested by Marine to hand him the fries that were in the bag he was carrying, but a hawk snatched the hamburger she was eating before he could. The hawk is following Wakana, who throws the French fries at it in order to let them escape. Marin breaks Wakana's hamburger in half after they sit together and Wakana gives it to her, and the two of them eat it. After finishing, Marin enters the water to dip her feet in it, and after a while, Wakana joins her. Wakana's feet are drenched by the waves when he does, and he is taken aback by this, and confesses that it was his first time at the beach. He never had the opportunity to travel since he was focused on perfecting his abilities as a Hinadal Kashirashi. His grandfather advised him to pay close attention to everything. After hearing that and more from Wakana, Marine pledges to bring Wakana to a variety of locations. Marine then goes, realizing how ashamed she is for proposing that they go alone together while Wakana consents. Back at their belongings, Marine snaps a photo of Wakana before seeing him stumble and tumble into the water, where he is surrounded by seaweed. Wakana and Marine come back to Wakana's house after going shopping for stuff needed to create Wakana's next cosplay outfit. When they go upstairs to his room, Wakana says that the mannequin he ordered will be arriving soon. In his room, Marine shows off the bottom part of her new swimsuit, surprising and embarrassing Wakana because he didn't expect it. Marine also tells him that she sent him a few messages with a picture of herself, and he hasn't replied to any of them. Wakana secretly admits to himself that a lot changed after he saw her picture. Marin starts talking about the new swimsuit, making Wakana feel uneasy around her. Because of this, Marin playfully teases the confused Wakana, who asks for some time alone. Later, while Marin paints a smooth glass rock, she asks Wakana if he blows on his noodles to cool them down, and he replies that he does. She then remarks that it feels good to help, making Wakana think he is contributing to her. Marin then decides to try on the outfit, and while Wakana is too shy to watch her, she reassures him that it's okay, but then realizes she isn't wearing the right bra. Eventually, Sejuna shows up to try on the outfit Wakana made for her, while also wearing her own costume. Wakana asks her if any changes are needed. Sejuna suggests that the skirt should be puffier, and checking her notes, Wakana agrees and offers to add some wiring, but she says she'll just use a tutu she already has. Next, she puts on the cape that goes with the outfit, and while they discuss it, Marin listens even though she doesn't understand what they're saying. Wakana then interrupts her thoughts and asks Marin how her outfit is, and she enthusiastically replies multiple times that it's insane. As Wakana gets Marine's hair ready for her wig and makeup, Sejuna looks through Marine's makeup kit and gives her some advice, sharing some of her products to better fit her cosplay character. Wakana suggests that Marine use the cosplay tape they have to make her eyes look sharper, matching the character more closely. While putting the tape on Marine's face, Sejuna recommends using bobby pins to keep the wig and tape secure. Once everything is ready, Marin holds her phone as a mirror to check her look, and feeling flustered, claims that she has been Black Lobelia all along, but Sejuna disagrees with her. Despite her excitement about capturing photos of their costumes, Marin feels let down when it rains on their scheduled day. Unlike Marin's sadness, Sejuna takes it calmly and notes that such things happen. While having a meaningful chat, Marin asks Sejuna if they can take a selfie together, which Sejuna happily agrees to. After Marin shares the selfie online, she notices the number of likes it receives just as Wakana arrives with Shinju, surprising both Marine and Sejuna with her unexpected presence. In a flashback, we see the group looking for places to shoot after Sejuna faints due to nerves. As most of them start to go their own ways, Wakana asks Shinju if she wants to cosplay too, and explains why he thinks she would. This makes Shinju look unhappy, and Wakana gets embarrassed for being so straightforward, but Shinju agrees with him. She mentions that there's a character she wants to cosplay, but feels she can't because the character doesn't match her body shape. She also worries about her older sister's potential negative reaction, which makes her feel insecure. However, Wakana shares some encouraging words based on his own experiences. Shinju then asks Wakana for help, and he willingly says yes. It turns out that she wants to cosplay a character from the same series that her sister and Marine are portraying. The character Shinju wishes to embody is Soma Oni-chan, which annoys Wakana. She also points out that she feels fat and can't afford the materials needed for the costume. This realization hits Wakana, making him aware of Shinju's youth and the money challenges that come with the cosplay hobby. Despite the hurdles Shinju faces, Wakana promises to make her dream come true. At his house, Wakana gives Shinju his school uniform that looks very much like the outfit of the character. When she tries it on, Shinju's figure causes some buttons to pop off, and Wakana has to sew them back on. To help with the fit, Wakana suggests using a Sarahashi wrap to compress her chest. While Shinju changes again, Wakana thinks about the struggles many cosplayers face when they need to alter their bodies to match the look of their characters. The Sarahashi wrap flattens Shinju's stomach, but it doesn't help much with her chest. She also needs something to widen her shoulders. Searching his phone for ways to flatten her chest, Wakana finds a budget-friendly product called a bee holder. Shinju buys it, and then Wakana tries to measure her head, resulting in an awkward moment concerning her chest. Sometime later, Wakana buys a wig for Shinju's costume and invites her to his place to help cut it. At first, Wakana feels really anxious about cutting it, which surprises Shinju because she thinks he's good at everything he does. Wakana disagrees, saying he doesn't think he can manage it, but he admits there's someone in his class he admires in the same way. After he explains, Wakana shows Shinju all the makeup he got from the store and starts getting her cosplay ready. In the present, Shinju surprises both Sejuna and Marine with her own cosplay outfit. Feeling emotional and very shy, Shinju is taken aback by the kind response she receives from Marine and her sister. They then take a special picture together and quickly get ready for the photo shoot that they originally came for. Shinju and Marin take pictures of Sejuna while Wakana watches, looking a bit confused. After finishing these pictures, Marin gets ready to take some fun photos with Sejuna. Even though Sejuna feels a bit stressed, Marin is really happy and excited to snap the photo with her. Inside her head, Sejuna scolds Marin for being unprofessional and says she dislikes Marin's personality while smiling broadly. While Marina and Shinju take some more pictures of Marin dressed up, Sejuna expresses her gratitude to Wakana for making Shinji's outfit and offers to cover the costs of Shinju's costume. Although Wakana refuses to take any money, Sejuna persists and admits she didn't know her sister wanted to cosplay. Wakana then shares some encouraging words with Sejuna, who praises Wakana as amazing. Meanwhile, during Shinju's photo shoot of Marin, Shinju's bee holder accidentally breaks. Later, Sejuna and Shinju look over the pictures they took earlier in her room. They talk openly about Sejuna's insecurities, about her looks, and how she feels a bit jealous of Shinju. Remembering something Wakana once said, Shinju decides to get a part-time job when she goes to high school and try cosplaying herself. Feeling tired from their activities that day, Sejuna mentions she prefers hanging out with just Shinju. In contrast, Shinju feels like she enjoyed it and is happy they did it together. Looking at a photo of Wakana, Sejuna softly says that if she feels up to it, she might want to do it again with Marine and Wakana. At home, Wakana receives a call from Marine, who is looking at the pictures he sent. While watching the Flower Blaze series, Marine asks Wakana how he did such a great job with the makeup to make Shinju look so much like a boy. Wakana replies that he just learned how through a magazine. He also adds that Shinju wore his school uniform for her cosplay. However, Marine misunderstands something Wakana said, thinking that he wanted to try cosplaying himself. Wakana clears this up by telling her that after a spontaneous moment, he invited Shinju to his house to help her prepare for the cosplay. Even though she's upset, Marin tells the unaware Wakana that everything is okay, even if she seems to act differently. Lying in his room, Wakana gazes at the unfinished cosplay for Marin named Veronica. A quick memory shows Wakana in Marin's room watching a video of the character while they share some pizza. Since the character has a darker skin tone, Wakana suggests they edit the photo digitally, and Marin agrees. As he thinks about the tricky aspects of cosplay outfits he's made before, Marin shows up and Wakana goes to greet her at the door. He is surprised to see Marin with a dark tan. She tells him she used foundation to create a fake tan. After being sweaty, Marin decides to take a shower, and Wakana offers her some fresh clothes. Later in Wakana's room, Marin displays the makeup and fake jewelry she plans to use for her Veronica cosplay. She also shows him the brick wall background she has for the photos. Even though they don't have the fake teeth for the cosplay, Wakana mentions that fake nails can work as a replacement. Marin puts on the fake teeth, and Wakana admires them. Marin then gets ready to wear the cosplay, which makes Wakana shy and blush. Noticing this, Marin thinks Wakana might be overheating and goes to fetch him some water. However, she accidentally bumps her head, leaving a bruise, which makes it harder for her to put on the cosplay wig. Later, the two head to a men's clothing store in Shibuya, where Marine has Wakana try on several outfits. None of them look great on him. but Marin thinks he looks fantastic in all of them. They also wear matching t-shirts and try on hats together. Afterward, they enjoy some ramen and keep exploring Shibuya. Eventually, Marin asks Wakana when they can work together on the Veronica cosplay, but he tells her he won't help anymore. He explains that he can't handle seeing her in such revealing clothes. This makes Marin playfully pout at him and promise to consider this for her next cosplay. As they walk on, Marin leans in and asks Wakana if he wants a picture of her in the cosplay. Wakana's reaction is flustered and jumbled, leading Marin to tease him by saying she was just kidding. Marin and Wakana go to a manga cafe to escape the intense heat of the day. Inside their room, Wakana feels uneasy because they are sitting so close together. After looking at the menu, Marin shows Wakana a new manga she's reading, which is shortened to Suxi IDK. Marin talks about the type of genre and the storyline of the manga, mentioning how much she likes half-pigtails. She shyly confesses that she would never dress up as the main female character because she feels insecure about how she looks in half-pigtails. Conversely, Wakana says he thinks she would look good. This comment surprises Marin, and she starts considering the idea of cosplaying. Marin explains to Wakana what a succubus is, as there is one in the story which bothers him a bit. After Marin encourages him, Wakana starts reading the manga and feels happy and cozy about the interactions between the two main characters. Marin steps out of the room to grab some things while Wakana keeps reading. He notices that the artwork is so basic that it would be challenging to create a costume for Marin. By evening, they leave the cafe, and before going home, Wakana asks Marin to join him in going to a bookstore to buy a copy of Suxi IDK. She enthusiastically agrees, and then they head to the bookstore, where Wakana also spots a clothing shop. That night, Wakana tells his grandfather that he bought 2 jinbei for himself. The story then shifts to a tense Wakana inside a love hotel. A flashback reveals that the day before, he completed Marin's new cosplay costume, and the studio she booked for their photo shoot turned out to be a love hotel. Once in their room, Marin enthusiastically jumps on the bed, expressing how much she enjoys being in a love hotel, while Wakana, on the other hand, feels extremely anxious about their circumstances. Marin admits that she was looking for a spot for their photo shoot, but she had no clue it was a love hotel when she found it. Unlike Marin, who is carefree about the location, Wakana is panicking over their situation. To lift Wakana's spirits, Marin shares some pictures of a female cosplay group that often uses love hotels. Not wanting to waste her money, Marin heads off to change into her cosplay costume, while Wakana watches something steamy on the TV. Once Marin is dressed in her outfit, she happily thanks Wakana for his great work. Wakana explains that he created the costume after looking up succubus and the main character from the manga they are cosplaying. Although he feels he didn't fully achieve the details, Marin is fine with it, since she believes that outfits in manga and anime don't always look the same as they do on the page. Eventually, Wakana assists Marin with her makeup, wig, and other accessories for the cosplay, and he also mentions that he brought some props from the manga for their photo shoot. Using these props, Wakana takes multiple pictures with his phone, and for the last set, he asks Marin to sit on him to recreate a lullaby scene from the manga. They go ahead and do this, and they both think the photo is amazing. However, Wakana soon realizes that their actions and the setting are not suitable for them, leading him to try and move Marin off of him, which only makes things more awkward. A call from the front desk interrupts their uncomfortable situation, informing them that their time in the room is almost over, prompting them to decide to leave. Back at his place, Wakana lightly hits his head while inwardly repeating Marin's name,